Welcome to Solo Travel TV. My name is Yogita Ridgley. I am your host. I am the CEO and the founder of Traveling with Me, myself and I. And today I have a beautiful lady, Demi, who's going to share her solo travel journey with us. Welcome, Demi. How are you?
I'm fantastic, Yogita. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much to agree to share your story. I'm so excited. So let's start with if you can introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you started on your solo travel journey.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Demi Paterson. It hasn't always been Demi Paterson. It's only been Demi Paterson for the last 4.5 years. I was someone that thought that I was going to be single forever because that's what made me happy. It's what I thought. And talk about solo traveling. I have literally traveled the world by myself. I tend to like my own company. And when it comes to relationships, I've always been a little bit hard to please. So when I went for a trip in Fiji, that changed my life forever.
So, Demi, I am so excited to get to the Fiji part, but let's start with when you first started your very, very first trip. Where did you go and how did you feel? Was there anxiousness even though you love your own company and you love to be on your own? Was there just excitement? How did you all start?
I,
All have
I've always been really excited to travel anywhere because I just love traveling. So I've been to Italy on my own, to England on my own, to France, all the European countries on my own, to Indonesia several times on my own. And I just really loved it because I'm fairly outgoing, so I make friends along the way and we tend to travel together. I think the only place that I felt overwhelmed and I wished that I was with somebody else was when I was in New York. It was quite, because there's so many people getting around, and yeah, for somebody that's quite outgoing, I really felt like, yeah, overwhelmed is the best way that I can describe it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we all feel that at different places and different times, and also what we're going through ourselves. And then also we have got this huge, thing about when you travel, you just embrace what's there. If you're feeling overwhelmed, just feel it, allow it to happen, and then just take baby steps and allow that holiday to blossom into whatever it's meant to be. But what I really want to ask you, to me, where is your original inheritance? Where do you come from? Like, you've got that beautiful features and you've got that beautiful name. So did it all start from?
Oh, that's a great question. Thank you. I actually was born in Athens in Greece. And even though I don't have a Greek accent, I actually speak Greek with an Australian accent. I came to Australia when I was quite young, so therefore my accent, but I'm very Greek in my mannerisms, in the way I think. So yeah, in my passion for food. So
I was just gonna say, is every time somebody says Greek, it's automatically the food, and
you think of
it makes
food.
sense because it's such a beautiful part of the country and it's such a beautiful food and culture. So you are so lucky, you have the best world of two. And is one of the things you do visit Greece quite often, or is it something because you're from there you don't actually visit there that often?
No, I do. I'm actually going to probably retire there. I was in Greece about 10 months ago, traveling through all the Greek islands, and yes, I love it. I love it. It will always be my home, really.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I honestly, to be totally honest, it's not a really bad place to retire, is it? I might actually join you
I
with
don't
your
think so.
retirement. Excellent. Now, my next question: if you were to, we all know we all love solo traveling because we love our own companies. We're confident women. But if you were to, say one thing that you don't like about solo traveling, what would that be?
The one thing, probably the times where there's beautiful things to see, because when there's beauty around you, it's natural that you want to share it. And when you're traveling, there are so many beautiful things to see, anything from a sunset to, just nature. So they're the times that you always think, wow, I wish I had somebody to share that with. I remember going to Mission Beach in North Queensland, and it was so spectacular. And where I stayed was so spectacular, right on the beach. My breakfast was served to me right on the beach. And for the first time in a long time, I felt sad that I didn't have anybody to share it with.
Yes, I have heard that quite often with people in sharing something beautiful. It multiplies the joy. Just like in sharing something sad, it lessens the sadness. So I think it is a very popular thing with all solo travelers, but I have also, admired women who have been able to face this and keep going. So thank you for sharing that. Now, I would love to go back to your story on your Fiji trip and hear a insight of what changed Demi's life on your Fiji trip.
Okay. Well, it's bizarre. It's something like out of a Hallmark movie, really, because Fiji was just a last minute destination, and it was really something that the travel agent suggested because I had wanted to go to New Zealand. And because I was traveling on my own yet again, I said, yes, sure, I'll go to Fiji. But I had booked an amazing 5-star resort. And I said, look, I just want to be on the beach by myself and somebody bringing me cocktails. And I just want to be left alone.
Yeah.
So when I
need, isn't it? Very simple need and very simple demand.
and actually I'm just seeing that my battery looks like it's going to run out. Do you mind if I just plug?
So continue with your story on how you booked a 5-star and your trip to Fiji.
Okay, so I've booked this amazing 5-star resort in Fiji, and I thought, well, fantastic. So I land in Fiji, and a bus comes and picks me up and takes me to the place where I meant to board a little boat to take me out to the island. And I was really dressed up. I tend to get a bit overdressed at the best of times, but I had stilettos on, and I had this beautiful blouse that I'd just bought, and I looked like I was dressed to go to a 5-star resort. And I noticed that the other travelers getting on the boat weren't dressed like that. They were in thongs or flip-flops, whatever you call them, and quite casual attire. And I thought, oh, okay. They're going to stand out when we get to the resort, aren't they? So we get to the place, and it didn't take long before I realized that I was not on the right island. Meanwhile, what I forgot to tell you was that on the boat ride across, I had this French man absolutely flirting with me as only Frenchmen can. And when he saw, I kept saying, look, I am not interested. I'm not interested in you. I'm not interested in anybody. I didn't come here to hook up, you
Yeah.
know. And he was saying, oh, you should meet my buddy Will. He's just the perfect man for you. And I was just ignoring him, you know. And then when we got to the island, I could see all his so-called buddies on the left-hand side of the boat. So here I am with my brand new purple suitcase. I hopped off the boat and I purposely rolled this suitcase on the sand on the right-hand side so I wouldn't even make eye contact with his so-called buddies. I've got to reception and it didn't take long for me to see I was on the wrong island.
Oh wow.
This island was only probably one step up from a backpacker's hostel.
Oh wow.
Remember, I had paid a fortune
For a
to be on.
stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So they showed me to my bureau, which didn't even have a bathroom. And by this time, I didn't know whether to cry or whether to get angry. I was just in shock.
Yeah.
Anyway, she said, look, I can't really even find you a bureau with a bathroom until maybe tomorrow, so you're going to have to stay here tonight. Anyway, the next morning, I rang up my travel agent. They admitted that they had made a mistake because somebody else had taken over my booking and the names of the islands sounded similar.
Oh my.
But they couldn't. I said, get me a boat and get me off this island. You know, I said, it's primitive. And they said, I'm so sorry, we can't because it's New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
All the resorts are booked. We can't get you off the island.
Yeah.
And I think everybody on the island could hear me. I was just absolutely going off and really disappointed.
Yeah.
Anyway, for about 2 days, every time I could hear the Frenchman where the dinners were served, I went to the furthest table away and just avoided him and his buddies at all costs. The night, New Year's Eve 2014, I was still on the island waiting to get someone to come and take me off the island. And at dinner time, I was walking to the bar. And of course, where their table was, I could not avoid the Frenchman and his buddies because it was the only way to the bar.
Yeah.
So I'm walking to the bar and he called me over. At first I pretended I couldn't hear him, but then it was to the point of rudeness. I thought I'd better say hello. So I've said hello. He's introduced me to all his buddies, you know, one after the other. And then, of course, the last one was Will. And I looked at Will and I thought, oh, you're just too handsome, aren't you? And I bet you think that you're all that. And Will tried to make a joke that went down like a lead balloon.
Oh, wow.
And I've just looked at him like he's looked at me like I'm the best thing since sliced bread, and I've looked at him like, oh my God, you are such an idiot. And walked away, went to the bar, ordered my drink. The poor man, for 3 attempts, I just basically gave him the steer of, oh, just get away from me, you know. And
So at what
when I had thought about what I thought of him, I thought, you know, Demi, this is what people say about you. Oh, I bet you think that you're all that. And they don't even want to talk to you. They don't want to make friends with you. And for the first time in your life, you've just said that about another person. So I started feeling a lot of guilt because this man wasn't being sleazy. He was just being friendly. You know, it was New Year's Eve. It was party time. And I had just treated him like, oh, don't talk to me.
Yeah.
And so the third time he seeked me out when it was away from other people and away from the noise, and he started talking to me, and I thought half an hour into it, after he'd bought me about 2 or 3 Long Island iced teas. I thought, Demi, you're in trouble.
Yes.
You're in trouble because this man
Yeah.
doesn't just look like all that. He has substance.
Yes.
He has substance, and you're in trouble.
Yes.
And that was
I'm
8 o'clock.
happy that you actually really let your guard down and allowed for that mind shift that do not judge the book by its cover. You know, we all do this where we judge, and our judgment is normally based on our old experiences and our, you know, memory of bad experiences and bad situations. So in this story, I can see where it's going. I am loving it. And is this the moment that you would define that was the change, the life changing moment for you?
It absolutely was, because you know how any couple that um, becomes a strong couple, it's because of the day or the night that changed everything. That was the night for us, because we started talking at 8 o'clock at night. By midnight, keeping in mind it was New Year's Eve, by midnight, when he kissed me at midnight, I knew he would be the one that I would marry. I knew he would be the one that I would finally say yes to, because I hadn't even accepted dates. I had been single for a long time and I honestly wasn't interested. And as it turns out, he was exactly the same. He wasn't interested in getting married ever again. He had told all his friends and family, and yet we got married a year to that day.
Excellent. Oh my God. And you know, when people talk about solo traveling, and this is one of the things that I totally love, is sharing these changing moments. You know, people who never wanted to find love, they find love. People who never wanted to, you know, find themselves, they find themselves. So I absolutely love this story. And that is the reason why I wanted to share it with everybody. Now, last question for you, Demi. If you were to actually advise someone who's thinking of going on their very first solo trip, what would your advice be? What would you suggest for them to, you know, keep in mind, or in terms of preparation or must have? What would you advise?
You know, the must have for travel is the must have for life, is have a great attitude to start with. Because really, how lucky are we when we are able to travel? You know, it's absolutely amazing no matter where we're going. So if you have a great attitude before you do anything, you will find that everything will fall into place. I hear so many people at airports saying, oh, could anything else go wrong? And I have to question what these people's attitude was before they actually set off on their trip. Because honestly, I love, and I met someone that is exactly like me. We love the whole experience. We don't care about delays. You know, I don't care if a flight is cancelled. I just love being at the airports. If I have to sleep on the floor for a while, I'll do it. You know, so that's my best advice, is to have a fantastic attitude and be like a child where you're excited. You know, we take so much for granted nowadays, and you think, get excited about traveling on your own. You know, think about all the adventures you're going to have. Speak to everybody you can possibly speak to. You know, whether you're shy or whether you're outgoing, the more people you speak to, the better. My very first time I went traveling on my own, I met my best friend, and I am friends with her to this day, 25 years later.
Yes.
And now we meet in all different countries together. Isn't
Yes.
that amazing, you know? And
Absolutely amazing. And that's what solo travel is all about. I love that advice. You know, shift your mind, be more childlike, more free-spirited. And you know, just like Demi said, everything in life is not going to be all glorious and flowers and beautiful. So embrace everything that isn't, so you can enjoy the glory of all the beautiful things that happen as well. Thank you so much, Demi. And thank you so much for your time and your story and sharing your insights. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe to the channel. This channel is all about empowering women, inspiring women, and educating women on solo travel. We support mental health. Good mental health is what solo travel teaches and empowers. So thank you and see you next time. Bye for now.